Next on Worcester News tonight, the Worcester Red Sox announced they're retiring the jersey number 6 in memory of the 6 Worcester firefighters killed in the cold storage warehouse fire. Plus, a judge issues the verdict in a high-profile case involving the death of a state trooper. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. The Worcester Fire Department is preparing to commemorate 20 years since one of the worst tragedies in the city's history. December 3rd marks 2 decades since 6 Worcester firefighters walked into the cold storage warehouse and did not come out. Tuesday, the city's newest ball team paid tribute to the 6 fallen heroes. Our Cam Jandro has the story.
We are going to retire the number 6.
No Worcester Red Sox player will ever wear the number 6. The announcement being made Tuesday by team president Dr. Charles Steinberg ahead of the 20-year anniversary of the cold storage warehouse fire. 6 Worcester firefighters were killed in the tragedy.
It took about 2 minutes before we understood how central the role is of the firefighters and what they've endured.
The jersey will be on display at the future Polar Park. Fire Chief Michael Lavoie was there the night of December 3rd, 1999. He was also on the department for the loss of firefighters John Davies and Christopher Roy.
Every single one of these deaths take a little piece out of us, and it just brings us back here. We can never forget.
The city will commemorate the Worcester 6 with a ceremony at the Franklin Street Station on the day of the anniversary. The Worcester Historical Fire Society will also put an exhibit inside the city's Union Station later this month, remembering the Worcester 6 with memorabilia and artifacts.
Would give the community a place to learn about or revisit the events of December 3rd, 1999, and the weeks that followed.
I was there that night and days after, and I can tell you that I will never forget those moments that we all shared.
Holding the Worcester 6 jersey, an emotional Lavoie says dealing with the loss of his brothers hasn't gotten any easier.
20 years later, it's still too fresh, but I will bring these emotions to my grave.
Now, Fire Chief Michael Lavoie announcing they will be hosting ceremonies on December 8th as well as December 9th to remember the lives of fallen firefighters John Davies and Christopher Roy. The Paw Sox announcing 8 seats from every home game at Polar Park will be reserved for the family and loved ones of fallen firefighters. In Worcester, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
And the red Worcester 6 jerseys are already on sale at polarpark.com. The jersey is $125 and the team expects the product to start shipping November 19th. The new jersey will also have a city seal on the sleeve. A portion of the proceeds will go to the Worcester Fire Department Memorials Care Fund. Switching gears now, Massachusetts State Police arrest a New York man for transporting more than $36,000 of alcohol. State Police say they noticed an SUV unsafely change lanes on 495 in Berlin Saturday night. They say the vehicle had an inspection sticker listed as failed since June 2017. When police pulled over 36-year-old Jia Chen, they noticed liquor boxes stacked to the roof and almost filling the entire passenger compartment. Police say it's illegal in Massachusetts to transport more than 3 gallons of liquor without a permit. Chen is facing multiple charges, including unlawful transport of liquor and driving a vehicle with a failed inspection. A 35-year-old Worcester woman is charged with leaving her twin babies by train tracks in July. Prosecutors say Cynthia McCarthy placed her infant twins in a stroller beside a railroad track and walked away. According to the Telegram, she is now charged with 2 counts of reckless endangerment of a child and 2 counts of abandoning a child under age 10. Railroad workers found the babies just before midnight July 2nd. McCarthy is due back in court December 6th. State Representative Harold Naughton is named Grand Marshal of the 2020 Worcester County St. Patrick's Parade. The parade committee making it official Tuesday in a ceremony at O'Connor's restaurant. Representative Naughton has been a member of the House since 1995. He currently serves as the chairman of the Joint Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. The committee says they chose Naughton as Grand Marshal because of his service to Worcester and Central Massachusetts.
He now represents us in the House of Representatives and currently holds that position, and we honor him today.
When Mary Ellen called us a few weeks ago to tell us about this, I was shocked and honored, and to be the first from outside the city of Worcester to be chosen for this as a proud Clintonian, as a proud Gale, that means a great deal.
And Representative Naughton is a veteran of both the Iraq and Afghanistan war. The verdict is in. David Njuguna found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the death of State Trooper Thomas Clardy. Trooper Clardy was hit and killed by a car on the Mass Pike back in 2016. Our Chandler Walsh joins us outside the courthouse now with the latest. Chandler.
Olivia, dozens of state troopers and police officers lined up outside the courtroom honoring Trooper Thomas Clardy. A judge delivered a verdict in the trial of David Njuguna. The 33-year-old Webster man was found guilty of killing Trooper Clardy. Judge Janet Kenton Walker delivered a split verdict in the trial. She found Njuguna guilty of 4 of his 6 charges, including involuntary manslaughter, misdemeanor motor vehicle homicide, negligent operation of a motor vehicle, and operating an uninsured motor vehicle. Judge Walker finds Njuguna not guilty of 2 charges connected to operating under the influence, including manslaughter OUI and felony motor vehicle homicide with drugs and negligence. She says there wasn't enough evidence to suggest he was under the influence of marijuana at the time of the crash. Prosecutors say in March 2016, Njuguna crossed through 3 lanes of traffic on the Mass Pike in Charlton at 80 miles per hour. They say he crashed into Trooper Clardy's cruiser, killing him while under the influence of marijuana. Njuguna's defense says he lost control of his vehicle due to a seizure. Clardy was a state trooper for 11 years and left a wife and 7 children.
Please keep in mind that I must decide this case only on the evidence and the law. While it may be cold and uncaring, our system of justice demands that I make the decision without emotion or sympathy for one side or the other.
Did he get a fair trial? I don't know. I wasn't in a position to make a comment on that. I'm sure he did. He was in front of a very fair jurist.
Judge Walker thanked troopers for their service and says Clardy's death is a reminder of the danger state police face every day. Njuguna's bail was revoked. His sentencing is set for November 21st. In Worcester, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A 24-year-old motorcyclist is dead following a crash on Chandler Street Monday evening. Police have identified the victim as Ryan Finnegan of Worcester. Police say the initial investigation reveals Finnegan was attempting a wheelie when his motorcycle struck the passenger door of a car.
He was driving south on Chandler Street. Right around 216 Chandler, he popped a wheelie. The front wheels were up in the air, and he struck the rear of a car that was waiting in traffic there. Obviously, when you're on a motorcycle and your front wheel's up in the air, if you crash it at a high speed, it's bad for you.
Finnegan was transported to a local hospital for treatment where he later died from his injuries. The Worcester Police Department is asking for the public's help in their search for a missing man. Police say 26-year-old Paul Lice was reported missing September 28th. His last known place of residence is in the area of Harlem Street in Worcester, but police say he has ties to the Fall River area. Lice was last seen being dropped off at Santander Bank in Westwood. If anyone has any information, they are asked to contact the Worcester Police Department. Following tonight's City Council meeting, city leaders will meet in an executive session to discuss their strategy in a case against opioid drug manufacturers and distributors. The city filed a lawsuit earlier this year in an effort to hold opioid manufacturers accountable for the suffering and damages caused by the opioid epidemic. The lawsuit is against Purdue Pharma as well as dozens of limited partners. The city's complaint alleges prescription opioids are a gateway drug to heroin and drug addictions, and companies companies place profits above the health and well-being of their customers. International law firm Scott & Scott is representing the city. Expenses and attorney fees will be paid out of any amounts awarded to the city. The Uxbridge Police Department is exploring the idea of hosting a first aid class for pets. The department made a post on Facebook last week asking if anyone would be interested in taking the class. Dozens of people commented on the post expressing their interest. The class would be taught by Four Footed Family, a Northbridge company specializing in pet first aid and CPR. An Uxbridge canine officer first brought up the idea after hearing about Four Footed Family's classes.
We know that 9 out of 10 pet owners, their animals will experience a medical emergency at some point in their lives. And our canine officer thought that people would like to be prepared if their animal should suffer some kind of an issue where they need CPR or first aid.
Chief Montminy says they don't have a start date for the classes. Head lice can spread any time of the year, but doctors say the insect spreads easier as the weather gets colder. Some experts say sharing winter clothes like hats and scarves can help the lice spread faster, especially among school-aged children. The tiny insects are very difficult to see, but the biggest symptom is a constantly itchy scalp. If you or someone in your house gets head lice, there are steps you can take to stop them from spreading further.
Everything needs to be washed and sanitized. All of the bedding, pillowcases, carpets, couches, anything material that really could be, a place for the nits to kind of colonize needs to get cleaned.
Lice can also be treated with a special shampoo designed to target the insect.